Greetings from the Guild, gamers. I'm Guildmaster Jason, and this is Throwback Thursday. This week's Throwback Thursday story is going to be one very near and dear to my own heart. It's from a session that I DM'd just a couple of weeks ago. If you've watched my previous Throwback Thursdays, you've heard me talk about one of the first campaigns I was ever in, where I played a dwarven fighter named Stormlord. Now, when I started that campaign, fellow Guild Leader Bailey Sheetz, who at the time was my soon-to-be girlfriend, was playing a human paladin named Janelladon. So starting that campaign was sort of like a first date for me and Bailey. So, when I was planning this one-shot, I told Bailey that I wanted her to once again play Janelladon from that old campaign. Also, I explained to her that between the time period of that previous campaign and this campaign, that essentially Janelladon and her adventuring party had dove into this dungeon, and once they got to the bottom of it, they were battling a beholder. Suddenly, several portals in the room opened up, and her beloved adventuring party were sucked into them, including Stormlord, my dwarven fighter, and several others. So that was essentially Janelladon's backstory for this one-shot. So me, Bailey, Larry, and Ashley sat down to play this one-shot. It wasn't a whole lot of detail, it wasn't some great masterpiece. They found out in town that this guy's house got robbed. They followed tracks out of town that led to this little cave where they found several kobolds. Going into the cave, they eventually met a black dragon wormling, and further on, a half-red dragon. When they made it into this final chamber where the half-red dragon was waiting, I explained that in the corner there was a dwarf tied up. So after finishing off the half-red dragon and his minions, Janelladon made her way over to this dwarf tied up in the corner. As she began to untie him, I explained to her that she recognized this dwarf. This was Jason Stormlord, the dwarven fighter from her old adventuring party that disappeared in that dungeon so many years ago. As soon as she got him free to where he could talk, I said that Stormlord immediately kind of grabbed her and just embraced her and said, "Janelladon, it's been so long since I've seen you. I promised myself if I ever saw you again, I'd ask you this question." And at that point, I proceeded to get down on one knee, pull out a ring, and ask Bailey to marry me. Needless to say, she said yes, because if she didn't, I wouldn't be making this video. I'd be crying in a corner somewhere. But it was certainly a proposal to remember. Anyways, that's this week's Throwback Thursday. As always, if you guys have some stories you'd like to share with us, feel free to send us a message. Till next time, game on, gamers.